What's up, Eric the Red here, and as I said last time, I'm not dead, but right now I kind of feel like that would be a better option. This is crypto for the caffeinated. This is crypto for the caffeinated, not caffeinated. I'm not Captain Crunch. So yeah, as you can tell, kind of maybe I'm sick right now. I've been sick all week, and it really put a damper on my birthday, which was on Tuesday, and it is now Thursday, and I had half the week off from work. It was Monday through Wednesday. I was like, you know, I'm going to take the time, I'm going to have some fun, I'm going to do something awesome for my birthday, and I've been stuck at home sick this entire time, and I had to take another sick day today because it just wasn't going to happen. So I've got cabin fever like crazy right now. And I feel like I need to do something, even though I feel like absolute garbage, and I'm simultaneously freezing and sweating, and my voice sounds like garbage. We're going to at least try to talk about something, so I can be productive and contribute to society. So as you may know, I did sort of rebuild my AMD rig I don't know, about a month or so ago. I ran into problem after problem with my original Z270P-D3 motherboard. I got some advice before I even bought that board that was encouraging me to look at another board, because even though this has the 3 full-size PCI slots on the board, this board does not a good mining rig make. And I was like, you know, whatever, you know, I'm just going to do my own thing. Maybe they drew the short end of the straw, as it were, and just got a crap board. And, well, that could be the case with me, but I got a crap board. It was a non-stop fight to get it to recognize cards, and I think at one time I maybe got 4 cards running simultaneously. When I would plug in the 5th, the thing would just fucking freak out. Like, it would shut itself down, it would start rebooting, the LEDs would start blinking. It didn't matter what the 4th card was, and it didn't matter what the whether it was on board or if it was using a riser. I tried all different combinations of anything, but the second I put an extra card in there, it went to hell, it stopped recognizing other cards, and it just was not fun. So I swallowed my pride and I ordered another H110D3A like I have in my JANK-ASS rig, and I put that in with the same processor. I did take the opportunity to put some proper I can't think right now. Proper grease, heat grease, whatever, on the CPU. So I was able to get rid of the stock stuff, which I just used because it was there. But I got that in, and I'm now running 7 cards off of that board. I'm using one of the U-bit PCI to USB 3 splitters, and I have room in that case to easily put 3 more single fan cards in there if I want to. So I could easily turn that into a 10 card rig. And I owe it all to just replacing the motherboard. So now I find myself in a position where I've got this Z270P-D3 GIGABYTE board, which, you know, it works, you know, for gaming or whatever that's not mining that you want to do. It works. It can't run the number of cards I want to run. So I'm in a position now where it's like, well, what am I going to do with it? So I was always going to build another AMD-based video game computer for my living room, just because I have one now that's got an old Athlon X4 that was a Phenom X3 that I unlocked, and has been, you know, housing my Steam library, and anytime I want to play a game, it's right there on the TV, which is nice. I mean, I don't game seriously, so, you know, I'll sit down and play for a little bit, but yeah, I wanted to upgrade that system to something newer, and I always wanted to, I was gonna do a Ryzen build, and then that's the thing with building a rig, is you sit and you wait, and you're like, well, if I wait a little longer, then these new components are gonna be out, and then I'll be able to do it that way, and that's been the case for years and years. So I figured I have a motherboard now, and I need something to do with it. So why not turn this motherboard into my gaming machine? It'll be Intel based, but I mean, at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter, because what's the point of brand loyalty? I mean, the brands don't care about you. It's what I've got, and it's otherwise going to waste. So I'm going to build a Steam rig using this Z270 motherboard that's been sitting in a box. And to run it, I was like, well, maybe, I'll get a nice high-end GPU for it. And I was like, oh, not at those prices. So then I started looking on eBay in the secondhand market, a couple generations back, and I'm like, oh, not at those prices. And that's also part of my problem is I don't want to spend a lot of money. I'm a cheap ass when it comes to some things. When it comes to the wrong things, like, I don't know. But that's a story for another day. So what I ended up finding in my research was a CPU that Intel doesn't talk a lot about. And that's this guy right here, which is it's the Pentium G4560. Now, maybe say, okay, well, what's special about a Pentium chip? It's down there with the other Pentium and the Celeron chips. It's one of their entry point processors. It's nothing that anyone's going to take all that serious. But the thing with this Pentium chip is, unlike all the Celeron chips and all the other Pentium chips, this one Pentium chip has hyperthreading, which, if you may or may not know what that means, this guy, although it is a dual core, because it has hyperthreading, it's dual core with 4 threads. So, 2 actual processors and 4 whatever processors. So it can do a lot more work than a Pentium processor that doesn't have the hyperthreading. This particular model is 3.5 gigahertz, 3 megabytes of cache, and it also supports dual channel DDR4, and of course it has the baked-in Intel graphics, which, considering it's probably going into a gaming computer, I'm not going to use. See, I haven't actually opened this yet because I don't have all the parts I need, and there's no sense opening this processor until I have everything I need. But you can see there, that is actually what it is. If you can read that, G4560. So I think this is going to do. And the reason I picked this up, for the price point, I got this for $59 at B&H Photo, and it is comparable performance-wise to a low-end Core i3. Which, again, for a lot of you high-end gamers are like, well, why would you game on an i3? And it's like, well, you could. I mean, I figure, why not? The money I'm saving on this over even the next level up, most affordable i3. And I mean, I was looking at i5s and i7s, they're still like hundreds of dollars. And I spent $59 on this, and it's dual-core 4-thread. So, and I'm just going to use the stock cooling solution for now until I get everything figured out in terms of the case. I also have a really old case that me and an ex-girlfriend found at a second-hand store. It's beautifully early 21st century. Like, it's got really, really early lighting in it, and it's pretty cool in terms of how old it is and how ridiculous it is. But I'm probably going to build the system inside that case to sort of resurrect that and just have something, that something really old that looks like it's trying to still fit in. It's like, the 40-year-old professor that goes to college parties. That's sort of what I'm humorously imagining that rig turning into. So maybe I'll call it the professor. Who knows? We'll see. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna repurpose that board that is no longer sufficient for what we need in terms of mining. We're gonna put this Pentium processor into it. I'll probably pick up. I'd like a minimum of 8 gigs of RAM, but I don't like the thought of using all my RAM slots on 4 gig sticks. So I may just, again, to get this built, pick up a single 8 gig stick of like that cheap Viper RAM. Maybe and then eventually I'll get another one so I'll have 16 gigs in there. But in my head, I'm not dishing out $140 for RAM. It's I'm paying $70 now, and then I'll pay $70 again at another point. So we'll do that. We'll have our 16 gigs in there, and then we'll probably do a we'll definitely do a solid state boot drive. I may actually do something like a 512. I may spend a little bit more on the solid state drive just so I have more space there for programs, and I'll still have an old spindle drive in there to do the to keep the Steam library on and all that, because I'm not going to spend that much on solid state whatnot. I may also do M.2 because this does support M.2, this board, but again, I can save money by just getting a solid state drive and whatever. There's room in that case for it, so it's not even a matter of space. So I may save the money, do a traditional SSD rather than an M.2, just to get a little more space on that SSD and get this thing built. Now, one other thing that I'm curious about trying with this processor is there is a recently announced, what is it? There's a new Ryzen chip, and it is more of it's a Ryzen chip that's more tailored towards, the low-end Intel stuff. So, and it's, I wish I could remember. No, it's not. It's not even a Ryzen chip. It's using the Ryzen tech, but it is an Athlon. It's a new Athlon processor that is really, it's like this. It's basically AMD having a chip like this with some built-in Vega graphics, and again, not a world champion by any way, shape, or form. Really more an entry-level chip, but it is strikingly similar to this CPU. So I think that chip will be my long overdue entry point into the Ryzen compatible AMD chipset. So I've actually, those chips are back ordered right now. So I've got one pre-ordered that will be here maybe in a couple of weeks. So that means I have to pick up an AMD motherboard that is compatible with it. And so I may actually have 2 builds coming up. So that's pretty cool. I've got the those old AMD internals inside the the crappy compact case, which I've gotten some flack on this channel just because it looks so shitty, and that's kind of the point. It's the sleeper build, because I mean, if someone breaks in and tries to steal my shit, they're gonna see, a 2003 compact sitting there, and who's gonna want that? Well, if you take a look inside, you might change your mind. But I'll got that. I'll put the AMD stuff in there. I'll put this in the Professor, and maybe we'll do some sort of side-by-side comparison. I don't know. I need to do more things. I need to have more fun, and the mining is great. It's at the point where it's just sitting and running and doing its thing without much human intervention. I'm purposefully taking a break from buying more cards, at least for a little while, as the prices on the 10 series have continued to slowly come down, as people are spending money on the 20 series, and they've announced the 2070, and maybe see to get in on the ground floor of that, and I'll wait for the 2060. I don't know. There's a lot happening right now, and then there's a rumored refresh of Radeon cards, but again, it's using the Polaris architecture, and come on, guys, this will be 3 in a row, and come on, AMD. Come on. I mean, it's a good time to own AMD stock, which I do, and it's been fantastic, but really. So, there wasn't a whole lot of point to this video. I just wanted to, again, I'm fucking hot sweats. I hate being sick. I absolutely hate it. I get sick like once a year, and it's usually over in 24 to 36 hours, and this is day 4, so I want to leave the house. I want to do things. I want to be productive in society again. So this is my attempt at doing that. So here we are. If you have recommendations for things you might like to see me put into either the Intel build or the upcoming the new Athlon build, let me know in the comments section down below. Because again, I'm kind of open on this. I'm playing it by ear, as it were. So if you have things you'd like to see, cards you'd like to see put into it, what you'd like to see in terms of a head-to-head, let me know. I'd like to, again, like I said, I'd like to branch into doing more things aside from just the mining. And I mean, clearly this channel was founded on energy drinks, and when you're getting less than 10 views a video, then, well, really that's the market telling you that, dude, nobody cares about energy drinks. So we're not really going to do much of that anymore. But again, we may pop in now and then and do that. But I think technology is really where it's at. I know there's a billion technology channels and everyone has their own thing, but who knows? I'm just going to have some fun. Maybe I'll do music gear too. I don't know. But this is just the sickness talking. But if you have things you'd like to see on this channel, let me know in the comment section down below. Click like if you liked it. Click subscribe if you haven't already. If you have an interest in any of the equipment or the gear that I am using, I do have affiliated links down in the description, as everyone else does. And even just clicking on them helps out the channel. Even if you don't buy anything, it, I guess, logs the clicks. It's weird. I don't know. Amazon. So that's what we're going to call the end of this video. Again, I'm sorry I'm sick. I'm just... ugh. So this will be the first of hopefully an uptick of content to this channel as my theater season is winding down. And once that's done, I'll have a heck of a lot more time to focus on this and getting my podcast back running again. Oh yeah, I have a podcast too. If you're into weird pop culture stuff, check it out on iTunes and Google Play. It's called Stories Telling Stories. I basically find unfinished narratives across pop culture, and I flesh them out and give them a dramatic reenactment. So it's kind of fun. It's kind of silly. So if you're into that stuff, check it out. Stories Telling Stories. But for now, I'm Eric the Red. This is Crypto for the Caffeinated. Stay caffeinated. Stay mining. Don't get sick. This is terrible. You don't want this.